Peterborough Patriots versus the Charlestown Chiefs. Brought to you by Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
Cut out the coffee, cut out those energy drinks that make you crash, and put yourself in a position to succeed with an energy boost from RockinThatIDLife.com. You'll be energized, focused, and you'll even experience an elevated mood for up to 6 hours. Check out RockinThatIDLife.com to learn more.
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston.
You're watching Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast with your hosts Kurt Price, Bill Day, and what appears to be a Peter Dinklage cosplay. So just sit back, grab a beer, and enjoy the best blues hockey talk on YouTube.
Welcome to episode 27 of season 14. This is episode number 507 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated, the biggest thing to hit Japan since they dropped that bomb on Nagashima. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Bill, is it obvious what I was quoting there?
To some. But
to some, yes,
but not to my flu-riddled brain.
It was that was Mike Shannon. He once said that about Hideo Nomo, and yeah, I had to work that in with Cardinal season starting. So
yeah,
check out the Let's Go Blues Minute wherever you get podcasts. It provides you with a daily look into the St. Louis Blues in a quick hit fashion. Smash that subscribe button wherever you get podcasts. It's Wednesday, April 2nd, and we're streaming live to the masses. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder. I am joined by Bill Day. Kurt Price is facing allegations that I think he might be getting out of very quickly here. So we will see. Yeah, stay tuned. Might get an appearance from him from jail or something. The agenda for tonight includes the PWHL Takeover Tour game that was here in St. Louis, Jimmy Snuggerud joining the Blues, a 10-game winning streak, who'da thunk it, and more on this lady-friendly episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Bill, missed you last week. I know that you said you've been ill. How are you feeling? And you ready to rock?
I'm about 80% ready to rock, I would say. It's been a rough week. I apologize in advance if I wind up sounding like a 3-pack a day smoker by the end of this episode, but I've been dealing with some nasty shit in the chest, and it will start causing me to cough at a moment's notice. So I'll do my best to get to mute real quick.
I will say, and I know I told you this a couple weeks ago, I had a week-long flu about a month ago, and that was, it's hard for me to say if I want to say that it's the worst flu I've ever had, but it's definitely the longest. I didn't I wasn't throwing up. The other stuff that usually comes with the flu, it wasn't as bad, but it was 102-degree fever randomly, body aches, chills, just, general fatigue. that lasted for an entire week. I've never had a flu last that long. So I feel you, buddy. Hopefully you're on the mend.
Yeah, yeah. I last week I could only do 1 day in the office, and so far this week I've made 3. So
Good.
it seems to be on the right path, but yeah, it's definitely not out of the woods yet. I need a few more days of good sleep to
Yes. Yeah.
really kick it in the ass.
So you're saying not make this a 3-hour show?
Yes,
Okay.
that I'm glad you picked up on that right away.
Yes,
Sometimes subtlety is not very, it's lost on you.
It's lost on me and Kurt. So
True.
yes, 100%. We hear you. So a couple announcements to get to at the open of the show. We will be talking here in a minute about the PWHL Takeover Tour that was here in St. Louis. All 3 of us were in attendance. But good news, at least for me, apparently you guys have not gotten emails. I was approved for media credentials for the NCAA games at Enterprise Center, the Frozen Four. So I will be going to, let's see, was it April 10th and 12th?
Yes.
Yep. So I will be there to cover the games. I'm hoping I'll be able to be at all 3 games. Very excited for that. That'll be very cool to be able to do. Yeah. So do you already have tickets?
Yes. I bought mine back in November. So I am excited to be there. I'm surprised that I may actually have somewhat of a rooting interest. My family, my sisters and her husband and my nephew have very strong Penn State ties. And so my brother-in-law, who lives 10 minutes from here, or from me, still works for Penn State. So they're diehard Nittany Lions fans, and seeing them get the surprise, kind of the Cinderella story, and make it to the Final Four or to the Frozen Four is pretty good storyline in this family. So I guess I'm gonna have to root for them.
Yeah, and sorry, just laughing at the chat here. Austin Lynch says, Ponder, you got to get producer Austin a creds pass for the Frozen Four. You're literally in the audience right now. You're not even in the show. So how are you going by the term? Yeah, what? We do one April Fool's prank together on Let's Go Blues Minute, and all of a sudden you think you're part of the show again?
He's
That's
back,
not
baby.
How this works. It's not how it works. No, and that's a side note. For those that listen to the Let's Go Blues Minute, Austin, we did a little April Fool's Day prank. I had him record it for me and act like he was me. Like even when we was talking about Puck Doku, he said, Bill beat me by a score of, and at the very end, we had him say who he was, but yeah, I don't know if you heard that one, but he did a pretty good job filling in for me. So thank you, Austin.
Yeah, glad to hear a different voice for once on that.
Yeah, right. Not just mine the whole time. I did have to work my voice in there at one point, though. I was the one that said April Fools. So
of course,
yeah. I mean, come on, I got to hear my own voice at some point.
At least once a day on the radio.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. So again, yes, I will be covering for Let's Go Blues Radio the NCAA games coming up, which is very exciting. And Kurt, as he joins the show, fresh off his recent allegations. Mr. Price, will you be attending the Frozen Four at all?
I don't currently have plans to.
Wrong microphone, sir.
I was just going to ask you to hear me okay, because I had some audio issues. Let me fix it real quick.
Here, there we go. Okay. Don't currently have plans to, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, like I said, I was approved for credentials. I put in your guys' names, and you said you haven't gotten emails, so I will check on that. I mean, if you're not interested, if you want to just go to the game as a fan again, like that's cool. I won't even check into it. But I think the Blues actually did really appreciate me being at the PWHL game, which is I'll just admit it. It's a far cry from when I was in the media before. Yes, I know, guys. I was in the media. I never got, not that they didn't want me there, but I never felt like it was like a welcoming, like, come in, cover this team, please, please. And I do think part of that is I think Armstrong has softened in his old age. I think he was kind of anti-media back in my day. And, I've told the stories about how apparently like he had to sign off on everything that was posted on social. And if it wasn't him, it was somebody in his staff. And I don't think that's the case at all anymore. So I think things have just softened in that organization. Because I can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank, but one of the media relations guys that was not there when I was in the media, he came up right away, introduced himself, thanked me for coming, and asked about the show. And it was just, again, just a far cry from what I've witnessed in the past. So that was kind of cool. Said we all do a great job, by the way. So there are people within the organization that have at least heard us for 5 seconds.
Well, and they are a judge. If I can talk, they were apparently are a good judge of character. So
yes,
good on them.
And then we got Ken Morris says, "Take care, Bill. Some nasty shit going around in Nova Scotia, which that's going around down here too. It's everywhere." Puck Guy 14, I'm guessing talking about our 10-game win streak. Did you guys play Gloria on repeat or something? That is my son's favorite song, so it gets played fairly regularly at the Ponder House.
Yeah, but it's Joe Boo.
Yeah,
right. It's Joe. It's not Gloria.
Yeah, yep. Gloria was retired after 19. They did not go back to that, and they should not have. But it's Joe Boo. This and did they ever say who planted? Didn't they kind of make it like as a mysterious thing? Who planted Joe Boo in the locker room?
Yeah, they haven't said who it is. We all have our guesses, I'm sure. Mine is Jordan Binnington.
Mine too.
That just feels like a Binnington move to me.
Yes. Yes, very much.
And then I know I said this last week, but I mean it this time. Oh my God, of course I moved it again. Here we go. White jerseys. That's the wrong side. Raw white jerseys. These buttes. I will officially be closing them up this Friday for our first order. So if you have not ordered or paid, excuse me, please do so. And I will definitely get you out on our first order, and it should be here in a couple weeks. So very excited for that. Again, just look for us on social media or email radio@letsgoblues.com. We will be in touch about how we can do this, but basically all you're going to do is Venmo me $45 or $85 if you want the beautiful blue ones as well that Bill is wearing right now. Look at that beaut. I'm talking about Bill, not even the jersey. But so if you're at all interested, please Venmo me that money, jponder94, or like I said, contact us on social, reach out, radio@letsgoblues.com, and we will get you all squared away, give you the details if you need them. All right, well, let's get into our official beers of episode number 508. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. You can find me at jponder94, Kurt's at cprice12, Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. Tonight I am drinking literally all that is in my fridge, and we have some Yuengling lager tonight. So I've got a couple of those to sip on tonight. Not my favorite. Never really understood the hype around Yuengling here in St. Louis. I think it literally was just because you couldn't get it here.
Yeah.
And now that it's here, it's like, okay, like, is it really that much better than Budweiser?
I don't think it's better. I like Budweiser better.
Give me a Bud Select over a Yuengling.
Well, I mean, Yuengling has like it has a bit of an aftertaste for me that I'm not a fan of. Some people might like it, but I actually had Yuengling's Flight, their light beer, the other day.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that. As far as light beers go, it was a good light beer. I enjoyed it.
Is that like Mick Ultra kind of light or just a Bud Light?
I compared it more to a Mick Ultra, to be honest. Maybe a little more. I thought it was a more flavorful light beer, personally. A little bit. I mean, you could tell it was light beer, but I enjoyed it.
Ken Morris in the chat. I heard Austin Lynch on your Minute podcast. At first, I thought it may have been Kurt. That is definitely a compliment to Kurt. Give me Austin all day. Let's go to Kurt. You know what? We gotta follow tradition. You are next. Stop stuffing your face.
I'm trying to get my roast beef down.
That's what she said.
Woo!
All right, go ahead.
Eat before the show. God. I've got pup, and I'm doing kind of what you're doing, just drinking what's in the fridge. I am very low on beer right now.
Me too.
I have not restocked in a while. I'm probably down to my last 3 or 4 beers, which is low for me. I got the Public House Giddy Goat Coffee Milk Stout. Funny story about this beer. This was the beer that I got when Amy and I were in Michigan, I believe, and I asked Bill if he wanted some, and he said yes, because it was like dirt cheap on sale, and I never gave it to him.
So now you're drinking it.
Just never
So now
did.
you have that.
Yeah.
But that's Public House?
Yes.
You got it in Michigan, and they're based in St. James, Missouri, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure maybe it was. Maybe I thought it was on a Michigan trip.
I thought it was too. I remember
maybe
St. James, Missouri trip.
I don't know. Maybe it was on a winery trip that we came back from. If Amy is listening, maybe she could remind. I'm bad about.
She'll
this stuff.
set you straight.
Yeah, it could have been coming back from the winery trip, maybe. That may have been it. Actually, that makes more sense.
Also, Kurt, flip your camera.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And Mr. Day, what are you drinking tonight?
So I've been wanting to try this bad boy for a little while. One of the Surly Darkness variants from this year. Love the can art.
That is awesome.
And this is the Cola Darkness.
Is that good?
It is. It's got. So my comparable here is going to be the 2022 variant for Bourbon County, the Cola variant that had just that like little hint of brown sugar cola taste to it. This is much more cola flavored, and it's pretty good. I enjoy this. But
nice.
if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go with the Bourbon County.
Amy did say my beer was not from Michigan. It was on the way back from a pickleball tournament in St. James.
Yes, so. Michigan, St. James. I mean, it's pretty much you flip a coin.
We did. We went to a lot of breweries in Michigan and on the way back. But your camera's all blurry, Bill. Maybe do one of these. Do one of those with your.
Yeah.
No.
Hold it there for a minute and then come back.
Literally a minute.
There you go. Not a whole minute. You can probably do it now. You're good.
Nobody needs to see me. It's okay.
I think Bill is just blurry.
This is my persona right now. I am fuzzy.
God, my dog is down here, and I think he's releasing some smelly dog farts.
Isn't that the worst?
Oh God, it smells like rotten eggs.
You could just work, and all of a sudden you hear. Psst,
yep.
And it's like, oh my God, my Great Pyrenees has released some odor and scared himself in the process. Like he'd be sleeping and he would let one go. Oh, he'd jump and get up and leave the room like that. Thanks, dude.
Always the best. All right. So let's get into it, boys. The Ottawa Charge defeated the Boston Fleet at Enterprise Center in the PWHL Takeover Tour on Saturday. All three of us were in attendance. Bill and Kurt actually attended with our friend Adam Gold. Oh God, my bracelet's upstairs. Damn it! I'll go get it on break.
I meant to say something before, but since Kurt wasn't around, it kind of slipped my mind.
Yes. So
Amy,
Goldie was my favorite part. I don't think I told you guys this yet. My favorite part was I was in the media room after the game, and I was, just kind of sitting there waiting for the players and coaches to come in. And one of the that's true for all of us, Amy. She says we drink a lot in the chat. Yes, we all do. Anyway, so so I'm sitting there waiting for the players and coaches to come in, and Sarah McClellan, I believe her name is. She's the PR person for the PWHL. She walks up, starts talking. We just have a nice conversation, and I said something about how I know Adam Gold, and I was like, "You're aware of who that is?" And she goes, "Oh, of course, we love Adam here." And then there was a gentleman there, and I forget his name. And PWHL, if you're listening, get a staff directory online. Good Lord, you can't. It's literally nowhere. So I talked to this guy for a long time, and very nice guy, and even said like, "Yeah, look me up, email me. We should, I'd love to get you involved more." Have no idea what his name was. So I'm talking to Sarah, and I said, "Yeah," and I pulled up my sleeve and I showed her my gold plan bracelet that he was handing out, and she goes, "Oh," and then she pulls her arm down. There it is, and then she points at him, and he shows his, and I'm like, "Sweet, everyone here is wearing a gold plan bracelet."
Amy stole mine.
We're all part of a cult.
Yes, right. But anyway, so yeah, it was a fun game.
Great finish.
I've talked to a ton of people who were at the game. Just random Boston Fleet fans. People drove in from Boston for this game. Burton Lee, thank you, winning unlimited. Man, that guy is clutch. Yes, it was Burton Lee. I need to reach out to him. If you have his email, shoot it over to me, please. But anyway. Wow, you are the man, Adam. But anyway, so it was a great game. We had a lot of fun, as I know you guys did, and it's funny because I've talked about my days in the media and how you're always told to not applaud when you're in the press box, but when Jincy Rose, St. Louis, and got the assist on the game tying goal, I did without even thinking. I started clapping. And I looked over, and there's two PWHL staff members sitting, fairly close. And I just go, oh, oops, I'm sorry. And they both just started laughing, and they go, "No, she's from St. Louis, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "No, good, applaud, get up, hold up a sign." And I was like, if I had one, I would.
Why is it a big deal if the press claps, applauds, cheers? You see it, the Cardinals press box, I've seen video up there. When something big happens, they go nuts. I don't understand why you have to play impartial. Why? They know you're there representing somebody. You're who cares?
It's because all of the media students, all of the English students and that they all have to take media ethics at some point, and it's beaten out of them.
Yeah.
It just seems silly to me. It's like, don't applaud. Why?
That is true. That is something that I learned in college, and yeah, it was completely beaten into my brain. And now that I've got 10 years off, it completely. I guess it left.
What's the rationale?
It's because
impartiality.
You're supposed to be impartial. But you're not supposed to root for anybody. You're there to cover the game. It's like but if you're in the White House press room, you're not supposed to applaud Donald Trump. It's the same thing. It's the same.
Well, you are now.
Well, now, yes.
If you don't, you won't be allowed in.
That's true.
But you're there. If you're there representing Let's Go Blues Radio, you're people know that you're a fan of the Blues. What do they? I don't know. Now I can see hooting and hollering and making a scene. That's one thing. You don't want to, clap in.
Say, my golf clap. I don't think anybody cared. I think it was for me. I think I kind of overreacted and was like, "Oh, I shouldn't be doing this," but I don't think anybody cared.
I think it's a stuffy attitude. Who cares?
It is, but
it's not like this. It's not like you're on camera. It's not like you're on TV, and it's. I don't know. Jeez.
So this game, let's just talk about the game for a little bit here. Teresa Vanisova had 2 goals in the final 4 minutes. The second one came because there was a challenge on the game tying goal because they said that she might have high stick the puck.
Yeah.
She did not, and she ended up scoring on the ensuing power play.
I thought that was a bad challenge. I said at the time, I was like, I wouldn't have challenged that. That looked like it was not a high stick, and you're going to get penalized, and that cost them the game. You know,
Yes, it did.
So I that was a bad challenge.
Yeah, no, I thought it was an amazing play by her to like the kind of the lacrosse catch and cradle and drop it down, and man, she one-timed it straight through the wickets.
Yep,
beautiful play.
That was a hell of a game, and hell of a finish. And I mean, I know that there was a large crowd for Boston there, and again, I think there was some. Well, I know because I talked to some of the concourse. There are some people who traveled from the Massachusetts area, which is why I think it was a little more heavy towards Boston. But I thought as the day went along, we started hearing people cheering more for Ottawa. Maybe you guys disagree. You were actually in the crowd, but for me, like I started, and my favorite part was we would hear. Let's see, what was it? Let's go Fleet or Let's go Boston. It was Let's go Boston. Let's go Boston. And then right after Let's go Boston would be said, you'd hear another portion of the crowd go, go Charge Go, I think. And I was like, that's awesome. Like it was in unison. It was so cool to hear and very well orchestrated by the fans. And yeah, I thought just a fun day overall for hockey. And clearly, you know, obviously a lot of girls in the crowd that definitely enjoyed the game.
Yeah, that was a fun atmosphere. Obviously a lot of females in attendance, a lot of girls. My daughter had a great time. She brought a friend of hers. Amy and I had a great time. It was fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and only had to wait in line about 20 minutes at
High
Point. We left to get food and thought, oh, we should make it back before the start of the was the start of the third period, I think, or the second, I guess. And missed the first few minutes of the second.
Oh well.
Yeah,
no goals. No goals scored in that time.
Yeah, no, it didn't actually. Very. I mean, it was a tight checking game, right? Wasn't a lot happening with a 1 goal scored early, and then really fun finish with 2 goals late.
Yep. So I actually have a clip to play. I know you gentlemen have already seen it, but before I play this, I just want to say, I blame a lot of people for this. The media coverage for this game was borderline criminal. There was nobody covering this game except for PWHL staff, me. I think there was 2 people from KMOV that I saw. KMOV, Channel 4. Is that KS? No.
KMOV is
Channel 4. Yeah.
Channel 4. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, KMOV. And so there's literally 2 of us asking questions after the game, which now I will say, again, I blame the St. Louis media for not making a bigger deal out of this, but I also blame the PWHL and the Blues or whoever was involved in the game time. 1 o'clock on a Saturday when the Blues play at 3:30.
Yeah.
It by the way, playoff time, and the Cardinals played at 1 o'clock in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what do you expect? Like, I mean, I think a 1 o'clock game would have been fine if the Cardinals and Blues didn't also have afternoon games.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty big miss. I will say that while Channel 5 did have coverage, apparently Annie Kroll, I think it is, was going through the concourse and interviewing people, but I guess she didn't come to the media room and didn't do interviews.
She was there. That's right. There
Okay.
was one person from KSDK. That's
Okay.
correct. But yeah, I was just surprised. And again, like, yes, 1 o'clock game would have been fine, but I think give them a 7 o'clock prime time Friday or Saturday night game with no other teams playing that are St. Louis based. I think that would have gotten an even bigger draw. personally.
I think the fan attendance was fine. I thought, but the media representation was what you mentioned. It sounds pathetic. So
It was press row. There was literally 5 people sitting in press row.
And how many max for a Blues game?
Well, for a regular season game, I think it's about 40 or 45 chairs. And then in the playoffs, they even add like a giant balcony that sits behind that row. So you can have up to 100 in that press box. And there was 5 people. It was dismal. But anyway, that's the negative side of it. Positive, I was able to interview Coach McLeod from Ottawa and Jinsey Dunn, as well as I'm sorry, first name Susanna
Tapney.
Yep, from the Boston Fleet. So anyway, so we got a clip here of me interviewing Coach McLeod and Jinsey Rose from the Ottawa Charge. Hi, Jeff Bonder, Let's Go Blues Radio. I've actually had you on the show before, Jinsey, and just wanted to ask you, like, obviously your family was here today. Very emotional day for you, I'm sure, but what was it like when Boston scored and you heard the goal horn go off for the wrong team?
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, especially when you're used to hearing that horn for the Blues. But, you know, I think it's just part of the game is you just let things go and you bounce back and you got a job to do,
So what was it like playing a professional game in St. Louis?
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. I hope it was an even better experience for the people that came. To have over 8,000 fans, that's huge for us. That's huge for our league. That's huge for the people that came. So again, I'm just grateful. It was awesome, and that my family's here. You know, I get to do it with a really special group too. So and you know, I have a head coach that starts me for that. I don't know if that always happens. So I'm really lucky that I got to do that.
What did you tell your teammates about St. Louis before you arrived?
Ooh, I told them like all the spots they had to go. I think I told them repeatedly that my favorite spot was the zoo. So if the weather's nice, go, and it's free. And then told them some food spots that they should definitely check out, because I think people don't know that St. Louis has some cool food culture that you don't find anywhere else.
I'd say interesting food culture
yeah.
for sure.
Explaining Provel cheese is like interesting to people.
Coach McLeod, for you, obviously, you know, you've been around the game forever. Have you ever been to St. Louis? What was your impression of the fan base here today?
This is my first time in St. Louis, and I love the line of questioning today. I'm actually really grateful for it, because I think what these takeover tours are allowing us is, obviously with the crowds, we're able to expose the game to more people, but I think what you guys can be so proud of here in St. Louis is who is the role model for these young players. It's not just the young girls that watch today. It's the young boys that are going to grow up and want to be like Jinsey Rose as well. And I think when these players get this opportunity to come home and play, to your point, I'm sure she watched a handful of Blues games when you're growing up, to be able to be on that ice and now just be in a pro league, like, it just isn't lost on us what these experiences mean. And St. Louis was great. It's been a wonderful community. I enjoyed walking that. I'm not going up the arch. I can confirm that. That thing's tall. But you know, you get the ball game feel, and the atmosphere has just been incredible. But for me, these games, we've had a few different stops where we've had some hometown players. It's a thrill to get to watch Jinsey play in St. Louis. So that's what this has meant to me too, and I appreciate the line of questioning, because she's the real deal.
Yes, she is. Last question for you, Jinsey. I just was wondering, you know, obviously you've played hockey here for a long time. You've coached a long time. Now you're playing professional hockey. You know, we've seen you in the Olympics. We've seen you in the IHF tournaments. What have you taken away from the past 2 years in the PWHL that you can now bring forward to kids that maybe you couldn't before you joined the PWHL?
Ooh, I would say you got to dream big, but if there's things that, like, little blessings that unfold in front of you, like this league for me, you know, you gotta go after that with all your heart. So I would say that's the big one for me.
Any final questions?
I'd like to just unfold. Carla, you've been around the game for a really long time. What did you mean by really long time? 42 and a half years old, you guys. That's all I am. I appreciate that. I know, it's good. Thanks for having us, everyone. Thanks for hosting us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really long time, gents.
Yeah, I got called out there.
Way to go, Jeff.
It's funny because one of my coworkers is a huge PWHL fan, and she saw that interview and obviously, knew it was me. And she said, "You got to remember, you're interviewing women and not men." And I'm like, "That's a good point."
Yeah, well,
No,
Did anybody ask any questions about like the game itself? It was mostly around like the crowd and the city and the experience.
The
But
fleet. I asked a couple more fleet type to them. I asked some more hockey based questions, but for Jinsey Rose, I thought it was, especially for the news coverage, I thought it'd be good to get some quotes for her and talking about playing in St. Louis. So, but no, that was all in jest. Coach McLeod was awesome. She came up to me afterward and thanked me for coming and covering, and said that she absolutely loved St. Louis. And I made a joke to Jinsey that I said, "You're never coming on the show again, are you? Because I offended your coach." And she laughed and she goes, "No, absolutely. I'd love to come back on." So they were all joking, but it was a fun atmosphere.
Women in their ages.
Yes. Well, I told her, I was like, "Hey, I'm 40. I'm almost 40. Like, I'm not making fun of your age at all, ma'am."
But you're still older than me.
Yes. My last thought here, just want to mention that it's so funny how back in the day, I would always be so worried about getting a story out right away. Like if this was me 10 years ago, I would have had something up Saturday night. But I am still working on something that I'm writing about this experience with the PWHL Takeover Tour coming here. It will actually be posted on Heavy Hockey Network, which is our friend of the show, Michael Hebert from Oilers Live. So he actually runs Heavy Hockey Network. So on their site, I will be having a story about this experience. Hopefully Friday morning is my goal. Anything else about the PWHL Takeover Tour, fellas?
Not at this moment.
Bill, we're going to actually continue PWHL talk when we get back from break. When we get back from break. So be ready for that. We do have something coming up there, but obviously we got a lot of Blues stuff to talk about. Jordan Binnington got recognized by the league. Jimmy Snuggerud had some big news here in St. Louis. Dalibor Dvorsky's also in the news. And there's something about the Blues playing well and stringing together some wins, something like that. You are listening to Let's Go Blues Radio with Jeff, Kurt, and Bill. We will be right back.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the paddle down!
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Flip past the Hall, he shoots, he scores!
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Hey guys, it's Jeff. You know, the fun, energetic host of Let's Go Blues Radio. I know I give off a natural energy and cheerful glow, but as I've gotten older, I've realized I need a kick in the pants to get going. I've tried it all, from forcing myself to drink coffee to picking up an energy drink every morning, but none of it provided true, sustainable energy without crash. Luckily, my friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com told me about their product, Energy, which provides exactly what I need. The first thing I do every morning morning is fill up my shaker bottle with water and a small energy packet, and within minutes of drinking it, my day truly begins. I feel motivated to get going on my work and feel the mental focus take effect as I dive into what I'm doing. I don't crash, and I feel like $1,000,000 throughout the day. Reach out to Dustin today to experience how much better your professional life can be. Email him at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and get $10 off your first order. That's rockinthatidlife.com, and that email again is rockinthatidlife@gmail.com. Don't let a lack of energy keep you from being who you want to be.
Yes, and as you can see, there are a lot of different ways to stamp out thirst with refreshing Stag beer. Now, one of the most popular is this handy six-pack. People like the six-pack because it saves space in the refrigerator, lets them keep more good cold Stag beer on hand. And you know, when you've got Stag on hand, you've got a mess.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
All right. Well, we are going to get in, and this might be the earliest we've ever done this. We're going to get right into Bill's Save of the Week.
All right. Yeah. Timely, because we're talking about the PWHL Takeover Tour. We saw a lot of great goaltending this week. A lot of all kinds of goaltending this week. Good, Joel Hofer. Bad, UC Saros. Great, Cam Talbot versus Jordan Binnington last night. That was an amazing show. But there's one sequence of goalie play that stood out to me over the last week, and that was about 6 minutes into the PWHL Takeover Tour game between Boston and Ottawa. And it comes from Gwyneth Phillips of the Ottawa Charge. Obviously, the play is running. You guys are watching it. But on this play, Boston's on the power play, and this is early in, about 6 minutes into the game, maybe 4 minutes. Early on in the game, Boston's on the power play, and they set out from the point. Susanna Toppany and Alina Mueller work the puck back and forth. Mueller unloads a shot that makes its way through. There's players scrambling around in front, and Gwyneth Phillips makes a great kick save. The puck squirts out, and Toppany is there for a Toppany in. Is that what that would be? That would be a Toppany in. But Gwyneth Phillips reaches up the glove and plucks the puck out of the air. What an amazing save. If she doesn't make that save, if she doesn't catch that, who's there? Who's there waiting for the rebound? It's Hillary Knight. That puck's going in the net. Absolutely beautiful save by Gwyneth Phillips. I thought that was the best goaltending sequence I saw all week. So
that's awesome.
Awesome that we got to see that live in person. I thought both goaltenders were great in this game, but Phillips got the start of the game, and deservedly so.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about Phillips is, like, I was seeing her play, and I'm like, I've never heard of her, and I've watched plenty of PWHL. She's the backup, and she played fantastic, because right now, Emmerance Mashmeyer, one of the best goalies in the entire world right now, she's hurt. And so they had to play Phillips in this game, and they've had to ride her a little bit, and she's been awesome. She was excellent in this game. I kept saying, oh my goodness, look at that. Like, whoa, look at that save. Look at that. Look at that. And I'm like, geez.
She's super feisty too. Early on, she made a glove save, and Boston player was like a foot away from her, and she threw up the blocker, like, stay the hell away from me. And then at the end of the game, Toppany crashed her, and she jumped up and threw a blocker punch that I thought might get her in trouble, but no, it was a great performance by her, and tonight she got a shutout.
Yeah,
Ottawa beat Boston 4-0. So
yeah, watch out, Mashmeyer. Phillips is killing it lately.
Yeah. That's hopefully she'll be able to bounce back from that injury. Ottawa's making a playoff push here.
They are. JB35 asks, can I increase my testosterone by watching Let's Go Blues Radio? Yes. The answer is yes. But also, to help you out just a little bit more, give you a little bit more edge, try that rocking that ID life. That will help wake you up as well. So, and Patrick Yoder joins the chat, says, "Let's go Blues, just got off work." No punctuation there. Let's go Blues, just got off work. Like a person's name, but we'll take it.
I've met JB35 and his testosterone is already through the roof. He doesn't need any more.
Wonderful. All right.
He built an ice rink in his backyard, so that's all you need to know.
Sounds like a wonderful person. I need to know this person so I can go play hockey in that backyard.
Well, it's not there now, but
I know not right now, but next winter.
It's like every year. Yeah, I think he does it every year.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So let's get into some Blues talk, shall we? Jordan Binnington is named the third star of the month for March. Vegas Golden Knights forward Jack Eichel and Toronto Maple Leafs forward John Tavares were named first and second star, respectively. Binnington helped lead the Blues to a 12-2-1 record in the third calendar month of the year. Posted an 8-2-0 record in that span. He's had a 910 save percentage and 221 goals against average playing in 10 games. His 8 wins were tied for the second most, while his GAA was ninth amongst goalies and made at least 7 appearances. At home, Binnington has been was a remarkable 5-0 with a 937 save percentage and 158 GAA, making him one of 2 goaltenders, along with Dallas's Jake Ottinger, with at least 5 wins and no losses. We will talk about the Detroit game, which was obviously played in April. But yeah, you mentioned it, Bill, that a lot of good goaltending this week. So for Miss Phillips to jump in and take that spot from Binnington is quite impressive because he and Hofer have had quite the week.
Yeah. When I went back through all the highlights this week, I didn't think anything topped that sequence by Phillips. And quite honestly, I thought that Talbot was like probably the best individual goaltending performance that I've seen against the Blues in a long time. So,
and I agree. And we'll get to the Detroit game in a minute, but that's what I love about this team. We've seen a couple really good goaltending performances since the Four Nations face-off from the other team. And how many times for years have we said, you can't use the excuse you ran into a hot goalie every damn game. Like, eventually, good teams figure out how to beat those hot goalies. The Blues are doing that right now. Cam Talbot was on fire last night. And I thought, man, the Blues just worked him.
Social media was all over Cam Talbot, too. The Red Wings fans, on the goal, on the goal allowed. They were very critical of him for that goal. And I'm like, come on. I mean,
which goal?
The Kairu's goal.
The tying goal.
Yeah.
It was a weak shot, but it was a good play that led to it.
I don't even we can talk about it in a minute, but I don't even think Kairu was shooting on net. But
I don't think so.
I think he was trying to pass to Shen.
JB35, crazy think the Blues could play Vegas and then the winner of LA Edmonton in the playoffs if they advance, of course.
Yep.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So a 3-point lead on Calgary. A 3-point lead in Calgary if Calgary wins its games in hand, which is, they're 7 points up now. If Calgary wins both games in hand they have, still got a 3-point lead. So it's looking good.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be tough for Calgary to overtake the Blues. The Blues would have to kind of go into a little bit of a funk, lose a few in a row.
And who's in a little bit of a funk right now?
Minnesota
Wild.
Yeah,
they got their point tonight. Yeah. So we're even on points. They've got the tiebreaker.
But how many times tonight they were trailing in the third period and they fucking came back in the third and tied it and forced overtime? How many times does this happen with teams that are chasing the Blues and the Blues are battling for the last wild card spot or two? And you look, it's Calgary, Vancouver. The teams cannot close these teams out, and they're getting points, and Calgary especially, the comeback kids lately. And the Blues have to go on a 10-0 run to hold off Calgary so far.
Yep.
I mean, if they're 8-2, Calgary's they could still overtake the Blues with winning the games at hand. So 10-0 was like they had to.
Yep, I agree. And for them to overtake the first wild card spot right now too is just
Well,
I mean, we never saw that coming,
Minnesota,
right? Like
Minnesota,
we were like, well, okay, but
the tiebreak
after last night, the Blues
tonight.
had a 1-point lead.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is the fact that they are in that close to the first wild card. And it was funny. I saw a post Tom Calhoun posted, friend of the show, posted on Facebook earlier today. The remaining schedules for all the like fringe playoff teams, and somebody said you need to start adding Colorado into this because the Blues could catch them. Now that is a tall order.
It's a tall order, but you know what?
They're losing tonight.
They're losing 2-0 to Chicago.
And I tell you what, it was, if you would have said to me 2 weeks ago the Blues were going to overtake Minnesota for the first wild card spot, I would have said absolutely not. So,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is 2009 all over again, right? We got too hot and wound up, leapfrogging into the sixth spot.
Yeah.
Right. It had to play Vancouver, who we did not match well against.
No.
I would much rather sit at 7 or 8, preferably against Winnipeg.
You think so?
I like that matchup.
Yeah.
I like that matchup a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I mean,
Vegas,
they've got the goaltender though.
But he doesn't do well in the first round.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
The Blues also have the goaltender.
Yeah, I know, but if I don't really care. Part of me wants to play Vegas, and part of me wants to play Winnipeg, because Winnipeg, has a habit of not getting it done in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but
and it started with us.
I know, but it was funny when you look at Money Puck's odd percentages of making the playoffs. The Blues are 92.3. Minnesota right now, who have the tiebreak against the Blues, are 89.6. So Minnesota's ahead of the Blues right now based on schedule and things coming up. But the Blues have a greater percentage of making the playoffs than Minnesota, so that's kind of interesting.
Yep. Speaking of Minnesota, the state, the Blues did sign Jimmy Snuggerud over the weekend, shortly after his Minnesota Golden Gophers lost in the NCAA regionals to number 3 seeded Massachusetts Minutemen. He did join the Blues for practice on Monday, and he made his NHL debut on Tuesday versus the Red Wings. Lots to talk about with that game. We will get more into his debut, but let me ask you guys. I was trying to decide what the bigger debut was the past couple weeks: Dalibor Dvorsky or Jimmy Snuggerud. Dvorsky's actually, I think, the higher touted prospect at this point. But I think the bigger debut was Snuggerud. And I think it's just because, with the college, and it was always like, oh man, if he goes back for a senior year, he'll be an unrestricted free agent. Is he going to sign with the Blues? Whereas Dvorsky, I feel like, has always kind of made it clear that his goal was to play with the Blues. So for me to see Snuggerud last night, that to me was the bigger debut, even though Dvorsky may be the better player.
What was interesting to me about Snuggerud signing rather quickly, right after they were done, and then coming on board and playing last night, that there was so much negativity on social media from tons of people. He's not going to sign here. He's going to go back. The Blues should trade his rights. They don't want to lose him for, if he did go back, well, he wouldn't go back in the draft, but if he did go sign somewhere else, become a free agent, the Blues would have gotten, I think, like a second round pick as compensation. But so that would have been,
is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
yes.
Still.
But so, because somebody was saying online that we'll lose him for nothing. And then people were like, no, we wouldn't lose him for nothing. We would get a second round pick or something. I looked it up, and that was the case. So, yeah. So anyway, but that doesn't really matter. But it was just kind of funny that so many people were adamant that he is not going to sign here. We're not going to, and he did right away. And Armstrong made comments, a while back saying after the Frozen Four, win the Frozen Four and then come and stay here. So Armstrong obviously had intentions and thought he was going to sign, and sure enough, as soon as they're done, he signs, he plays, he's here. So I'm like, it's just so funny to like, don't listen to random folks online ever.
Right. It's the same. It's the same crowd. The same crowd that wants you to sell everybody the second you don't think you have a chance to make the playoffs.
Sell off everybody.
Right?
Get rid of Binnington.
Right.
We don't need him. Get rid of
Bennington.
Bennington.
They are the ones that understand the prospect pool better than anybody else. So you got to listen to them.
How many off seasons or how many like prior to the trade deadline, the past few years, have people said trade Binnington, trade him? He's not part of this retool. He's going to be too old when we're good again. Trade him. I'm like, and then Parayko, trade him. Just everybody, Shen, trade him. And I'm like, if they traded Binnington, if they had traded Parayko, if they had traded Shen, they wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be going through this 10 wins in a row, and we wouldn't be in the playoffs this year. So, people need to shut the fuck up about shit they don't know anything about. It's social media, right? You see all this stuff and people just going off, acting like they're experts, and they don't know jack shit.
Big Beaver says Snug was more impactful, seemingly, but Dvorsky is going to be the longer-term win.
Yeah.
We'll see. But, I just mean, like, the hype around their debut. To me, the bigger one was Snuggerud.
Yeah, because I think there was some question last year, about whether he would sign here. That was fueled on social media. I think a lot of it was, the dude just wanted to win a college championship, right?
Yep.
Right.
So, but I agree that it was nice to see him here and shut up all the people that were saying he wasn't going to sign. That was almost like giving everybody a big shit burger to eat, right? Oh, he's here, he's playing. That's the way it is, So, but I honestly, the way he played, I thought he looked hesitant at first, indecisive a couple times. That play at the blue line, especially where he kind of held on to it, didn't quite know what to do with it, and then it blues in it. But, all in all, I didn't look at his minutes played. I don't think he played that much, but it was, a decent first game.
Joe Schmo says Binner outdueled Hellebuck once, might be in his head. I agree. That would be interesting. And then Patrick Yoder, which I think he's echoing a lot of what we've said over the years. Taking for number one is literally a loser mentality. Trade Binnington, Parayko, Shen, Kyrou has no long view, obsessed with immediate gratification. Yeah, yep. I agree. Again, like the fact that the plan has been a short retool and it's worked to perfection, at least to this point, goes to show why you don't trade Binnington, why you don't trade Parayko, why I'm glad they didn't trade Shen at the trade deadline. Like, I am so glad they stayed the course and did not do anything drastic.
Yeah. And you hear that all the time, trade this guy, trade that guy. It's just, it's so old. It's like people, and we've talked about this on the show before, that about how people are just never content with building and working with what you have and trying to build that team moving forward. They just want to blow it all up. There's always, unless you're a legit cup contender, there is a lot of people out there that want to just blow it up and get rid of you see it. Trade everyone except for so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. They got three guys and then trade everybody else. I'm like, which first of all is never going to happen. When in the history of the NHL has a team traded like 12 guys at the deadline? It doesn't happen.
The closest was the Blues a couple of years ago.
Well, I guess when the Blues traded for Garth Butcher too, they traded like five guys. But but it gets old. You see it all the time. People are stupid.
Yeah,
it's comical.
All right, Dalibor Dvorsky, we already mentioned him. News that broke today: he has been assigned to Springfield, which is really no shock. I thought with Snuggerud signing, there's only so much roster space. Dvorsky is 19. He was recalled to the Blues on March 22nd. Made his NHL debut with the club in a 4-1 win over Nashville on March 23rd. This season with the Thunderbirds, he's dressed in 57 games, sharing fourth amongst any AHL rookies with 20 goals and ninth with 43 points. We talked about his debut already, liked the way he looked. Very excited to see him, I think, full-time next season. This was just giving Blues fans a taste of what that future winger looks like. And My Lord, that was yummy. All right, so the Blues defeated. Well, actually, let's get to Ken Morris's comment first. I agree with Kurt's comments on Jimmy Snuggerud. I thought at times he looked a little out of place. So
yeah, I do too.
We're not alone.
No, I he didn't get a ton of playing time, and I should pull it up, but yeah, it's first game. It's going to have jitters. He's not going to. I was actually surprised he got in as quick as he did. I thought he might have gotten some more practice.
10:43, by the way, of ice time.
10:43, yeah, not a ton.
Yep.
I mean, but I thought maybe he'd get a few more practices in before he got in lineup, but no, they stuck him right in there, which that was exciting to see. When I saw who he was playing, I'm like, wow, okay, let's go.
Yep.
But I thought, hopefully, I'm assuming he's going to get a lot more comfortable with his line mates and stuff. He just got here, so any uncomfortableness or looking a little out of place has got to be. It's not a concern at all. It's expected, probably. So
yeah, and I like that. I like they played him with Bolduc too, because I feel like that's going to be what they're hoping is going to be a top line in a couple of years. Those two on the wings.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Sundqvist as a mentor, the veteran anchor, and anchor is such an adequate description of Sundqvist.
The boat anchor, right?
Yes.
Yep. Just direct.
Yeah, it works on so many different levels.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good choice. And seeing Bolduc, Bolduc showed a little bit of leadership. Like, hey kid, this is what you do, right?
Yep.
This is where you're gonna go. And I'll say once they kind of switch things up and Neighbors got a couple shifts with Snuggerud, I thought it kind of dropped off. But we still we have a couple games to talk about before we get there. But overall, I would say I was pleasantly surprised that the one shot he got off on Talbot, that I thought that could have gone in on, if it was the Cam Talbot of the previous 2 weeks, probably goes in.
Yeah,
but
that was a good shot. It was a good shot.
Yeah, let's talk about these other games real quick before we get into the Detroit game, because these were big games. I mean, obviously 8th and 9th wins in a row. So the Blues defeated the Predators last Thursday 3-2 in Nashville, giving them the 8-game winning streak. Blues forward Pavel Buchnevich did miss his 4th consecutive game because of an illness at this point. Dylan Holloway had 2 goals. Robert Thomas had 2 assists. And this was a game that I thought the Blues were awful, especially to start. They did not look good. Joel Hofer, after the second goal, I'll admit I was up yelling, yank him. I thought he looked, and I know that the one was a one-timer with players in front, but I thought he looked small in both those goals. He did not play big. He was back on his goal line. I did not like, and again, maybe that shot, the second one especially, maybe that beats any goalie in the NHL, but I just feel like he was hunched down in his crease, and it just was not a good look for me. Bill, what are your thoughts? I want to hear you from a goalie perspective.
It was a good thing that he was playing a small goalie.
Yeah,
and
true.
UC Saros was at the other end that night. No, when you put it in our group chat, about him being small, I agreed with you right away. Like that. Well, not right away. When I got caught up to that point in the game, I'm like, yeah, you have a point. He didn't seem to be in command at that point. And luckily the team came along and bailed him out.
Yep.
I agree with you 100%. Did not like the way the team played at all until the third. So
and it was like it's one of those things, like we get to the end of March and the puck is bouncing like crazy all across the NHL, specifically points in St. Louis and South, like Nashville and Dallas. Pucks aren't good this time of year, and the Blues did not look like they could control the puck through the first 2 periods of that game.
But then, just a 20-second span, right? And,
so that's all we need.
Yes, it was just, and against Nashville was just extra sweet, right? That was. I mean, it was a fun third period.
Yeah,
frustrating first couple, but then a fun third.
Again, you mentioned against Nashville. This was also the game that mathematically eliminated Nashville from playoff contention. So, we knew they weren't going to make it. They're so far down the standings, but to see them get all the hype they got from their offseason acquisitions, and which is funny too. I think it was. I'm drawing a blank. I think it was on Holloway's second goal, the game winner, where Holloway. So that it looked like the Predators were going to clear the zone. And then I think was it Bunting in the middle, and he ended up losing it. And Holloway comes in, shoots, and scores. If you watch the replay, Jonathan Marchessault and Steven Stamkos are off to the races to go down the ice to score a goal. And it's like, oops, we forgot about defense. Yep. So it was kind of fun to see that. And then again, the two big signings, big part of that's the game-winning goal. And now they're not even going to make the playoffs.
It's, as a division rival, there's two schools of thought, I guess, where you if your division rival is good and you're good, it's the meaningful games, which, is a little extra storyline there for, playoff positioning. But also, it's kind of fun to see the rival struggle, especially after all the hype. Everybody and their sister had them finishing ahead of the Blues. So, yeah, that's they can suck it this season.
I do think it's funny, and we've all seen this with every team's fans. Predators fans now saying that they need to fire Barry Trotz as the GM because his signings did not work out for this team. And I'm like, he's been on the job 2 years since Poyle retired. Like, listen, I'm not a fan of the Predators at all. I love seeing them lose. But come on, I think to me, how does he get out of this issue? Like, do they have a quick retool? Can he trade those guys for assets? Like that to me is what makes a good GM to get out of a bind. And so to say fire him now, come on.
Armstrong has been in binds before with contracts. Laterra is one of them. A perfect example. Berglund, right? Yep. He got out of Laterra's contract, got out of Berglund's contract. He's had bad signings like every GM does, but he's had a habit of getting out of those bad signings. Enough, right? Getting out of enough of them and then flipping it and for assets. I mean, my God, Laterra getting Shen. And then Berglund being the package deal to bring in O'Reilly. It's like just I mean, you criticize the move and the money for Berglund or whatever, and then all of a sudden and that move actually there could be a documentary written about that entire thing, about how Berglund's agent didn't file in time, and then Armstrong trades him right away. Out of here.
I'm telling you, I've been looking into it. I'm going to keep trying to figure it out. I want to get Patrick Berglund on the show.
Oh,
I would love to hear what he has to say about it.
Somebody interviewed him in Sweden about that, and I think he talked about it, and it was translated. Maybe it was an article in a paper. And I think I remember seeing it a while back. Yeah, so that was. I'd love to see some kind of a interview or a documentary or something with him. That'd be interesting.
Produced by Let's Go Blues Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Yoder says, you guys see O'Reilly's post-game presser. Betcha he wishes he was still a Blue. Yeah, he said something along the lines of, we knew we were going to be eliminated, or we already knew what our destiny was, but this was just kind of the kicker kind of thing. And it's like, I love you, O'Reilly, and I always will, but yeah, it's kind of nice to see the Predators fall.
Yeah, and I mean, he signed there, right. So that was his decision. He wasn't traded there, right? So that I mean, he could have went to a number of teams, I'm sure, but it was an interesting choice for him, I thought, when he signed there.
Yep. Well, the Blues get a massive win in Colorado on Saturday. They won this one 2-1 and extend their streak to 9 games. Buchnevich did return for this game, and he did score the go-ahead goal at 8:54 of the third period. excuse me, Thomas again had 2 assists in this game. He recorded his 4th consecutive multi-assist game, tying the longest streak in franchise history, last accomplished by Doug Waite. 4 games was when he did that in 2002, 2003. St. Louis moved into a tie with Winnipeg. I'm sorry, Winnipeg. Wow, that would have been quite the jump.
That's impressive.
They moved into a tie with the Minnesota Wild for the first wild card spot in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Jordan Binnington, I thought, was fantastic in this game. 28 saves on 29 shots. I've already forgotten about that Pittsburgh stinker that he had. He has been tremendous lately. And to me, it's like, and again, nothing against Hofer. I thought Hofer bounced back really well after the 2 goals against Nashville. But I think you ride Binnington now. I mean, this is your guy. He is absolutely killing it lately.
We've talked about the goaltending before and who they should play and when they should play them. And
I'm done trying to figure it out.
Yeah, right. I mean, I will die on the hill that we were right a number of times about who should play when, even though if it worked out for the Blues,
I agree.
Hofer started. It didn't make any sense to me. Not going to say I'm smarter than Montgomery by any means with this team, but traditional goaltending thinking a number of times this season didn't make any sense. So this game was a fantastic game. The deserve to win meter has it split right down the middle, 50-50 on this game. Fantastic, exciting game against a team you hate. The only thing to make this better is if Kadri was still on the Avalanche.
Yeah.
But this was a fun game. Loved this game.
Bill's going a lot. What's going on, Bill?
Seattle
having some flatulence.
Yes. Just like it's the dog back there. No. Chandler Stevenson just sniped Thatcher Demko for a 2-0 Seattle lead over.
Oh
Vancouver.
Yeah, I just
about
saw it
halfway through this game.
Love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Things are just working out for the Blues right now.
You know what? Yeah. You know what's weird about? I mean, what kind of interesting about Colorado is that we have 10 straight wins. We go to tie the team record for 11 wins against Pittsburgh, and then if we do happen to win against Pittsburgh, which I think we should be motivated, right, to beat Pittsburgh because we did lose to Pittsburgh last time out, and we could tie the team record for wins. So if we do win that game, then the game that would break the team record for wins would be against Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So. Man, you're right, Bill. That was across Demko's body. Just a beautiful shot. Woo.
Right. And we kind of talked about it last week. Big goalies playing deep in their nets.
Yep.
And Stevenson took full advantage of it.
Yep. One thing about Colorado too is that if this team does happen to beat Colorado on the 5th, we'll have taken 3 out of 4 from Colorado this season.
That's
winning 3 straight.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. Big Beaver says, and he's a little bit of a luck charm there in Colorado. Was there for it. I'm 2-1 Blues at Avs since I've lived here. So keep going to those games, Big Beaver. Heck yeah. Keep it up.
We'll do a GoFundMe if there's a playoff matchup.
And it's always fun to stick it to a Kroenke team as well.
Always.
Let's see. That's Mike Krakens from Patrick Yoder. That's Mike Kraken, number 2 team from my Montana college days. What is going on here?
Schwartz and Dumb. It should be Schwartz and Dunn. I think
Schwartz and Dunn. Yes, Schwartz and Dunn. Damn autocomplete. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Yep.
Or maybe it's voice to text. Maybe.
I was so confused. I'm like, shit. What's Shen? Is there another brother out there?
Is it Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels?
Yeah.
So let me take a quick pause here and congratulate Patrick Yoder and his Seattle-themed fantasy team, the Brandon Montour de Force.
Nice.
For their almost 100-point victory over my Sudbury White Grape Weimaraners in round 1 of our playoff matchup.
My goodness.
I had him after the first week. And then all my guys got injured for the second week, and he blew me away. Helps having Hellebuck and Ottinger and a couple of hat tricks in there in that second week. So congrats, Patrick.
Congrats, Patrick, on beating Bill. You mentioned your team names. Let's go ahead and I'll go over my two. First of all, my favorite I've ever had all time is Ovi's Orgasmic Orchestra. Loved that one. But right now I've got Tage Against the Machine because I've got Tage Thompson on my team. And then I've also got Dylan Cousins Ain't Off Limits. I was proud of that one.
And now both cousins are in Ottawa, so that's kind of funny.
That's true. So yes, in this game, Blues big win. Scored a power play goal. I love Buchnevich's goal. The game winner here. He was in front of the net where he needs to be, and just rebound popped out from Mackenzie Blackwood, who I thought played a pretty good game as well. But yeah, Buchnevich right there on the doorstep pounds in the go-ahead goal, and the Blues take this one 2-1. Hell of a hockey game, Kurt. You said this was a fun game. You really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Same here. I was happy.
Even
that
game.
I got home, and it was the second period. I went ahead and just watched it live, and then I watched the first later on replay. And yeah, I mean, just a very, very fun game to watch.
Evenly played, I thought. It was dominated a face-off circle, and that was really only the Blues did get a power play goal. They had a few more power plays, and Avs fans were kind of bitching about the officiating, about not getting the call along the boards. Was it Bolduc or was it the forearm to the head of I forgot the Avalanche player? Checked him along the boards near the bench, and his arm, I think it was Bolduc. Arm got up, and the forearm kind of got the Avalanche player on the side of the head, and they were wanting a penalty. People online saying he punched him in the head. That didn't happen. It was kind of the forearm, but that they didn't get that call, and the Blues got four power plays.
Also, Binnington's a racist.
Of course,
that's what Avalanche fans tell me.
Yes,
You talk about low-hanging fruit fan base that they just use something that off the scrap heap. That's an insult off the scrap heap from years ago. We'll just use that. It's like unoriginal bastards.
By the way, I don't think I told you guys this. Last time I was on the Puck podcast, I made the Winnipeg doesn't have an airport joke. They do have an airport, right?
Yeah, right. That's Well, it was a sorry. You knew that. I mean, right? I mean, it was like a sarcastic kind of a
Thunder Bay.
No. Here's what I literally thought. I thought their airport was like outside of city limits. Like it wasn't considered Winnipeg. It was like the neighboring town.
Right.
That's just what I figured. And because I never looked it up. And yeah, I was pounded by the Puck podcast audience for that comment.
Well, it's like a joke because they're such a hick town, they don't even have an airport, and it's like but they do have an airport, but it's a stupid. It was started by Game Time, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yep. No, so yeah, that was my fault. Deserved all the shit I got for that.
Although at the time I assumed they didn't have it because Game Time said it. I figured they didn't have one, and then at some point I looked it up. I'm like, oh, they do have an airport.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of funny.
Yep. That was it was all a joke, all in jest, and it went over my head. Like I said, I just thought like if St. Louis's airport was in St. Charles or in Illinois, it'd be like, oh, okay, St. Louis doesn't have an airport. Like that's kind of what I thought, but I should have done my research.
It's funnier that they do have an airport, and to make people think they don't.
Yeah.
And people believe it. Because who knows about Winnipeg?
I don't know how much that phrase got outside St. Louis area, but probably not. But
I think somebody did write in from Colorado and say they also thought that. So yeah, I do think it did make its rounds at least in the Central Division.
That's funny.
Yep. So all right, let's talk about this game last night. Blues won their 10th in a row. They defeated the Red Wings in a thrilling 2-1 OT victory. Bill, you having some indigestion? What's the deal?
I was gonna say you said thrilling. I had so much anxiety in the third period of this game. Like, I was twitching back and forth because holy shit, were we going to lose that game?
I know.
Oh my God. I haven't had that much anxiety since the 2019 run.
It was a very frustrating first two periods because the Blues, so the Blues outshot Detroit pretty heavily most of this game. But to be honest, and the deserved to win meter had the Blues way out ahead. But they didn't get a ton of chances in close, and the scoring chances weren't a lot of high danger. But Talbot played great. He stopped everything he should have. So I was kind of concerned because they didn't have extended zone time in the offensive zone most of the first two periods. So it was frustrating to watch the first two periods because they were getting shots on net, but they weren't like, it wasn't like high quality chances, and it wasn't like sustained pressure that led to those chances. It was kind of like one and done and out, but they got a lot of shots on net. And we're outplaying, and I kept thinking the longer this game goes without the Blues scoring, Detroit's gonna win this game. And I jumped out of my seat, like probably the entire Blues fan base, when Kyrou scores in the third.
Oh yeah.
So I was at the Cardinal game last night, which they ended up losing, unfortunately. But I did know the score. I was watching it pretty closely. I typically try to not pay attention to it, but I was just like, I'm at a Cardinals game. There's gonna be people around me talking about it. Guy next to me had a Blues jersey on. I'm like, I'm gonna hear about this game. So I knew the score. Literally walked in the door, turned on FanDuel Sports, and the replay literally, boom, puck drop on first period. And it was right at 11 o'clock when I got home. And I was like, perfect. And so I stayed up. I watched the whole game. And right at about 12:40, I decided to close my eyes. Missed the 2 goals. Like I said, I knew the final, so I wasn't at the edge of my seat because I knew what happened. But I was like, I literally am staying up for these 2 goals.
Yeah.
I want to see them like it's in real time. I wake up and there's some crap FanDuel show on, and I'm like, no.
My daughter said that when Fowler scored in overtime, because I was standing watching, she said my reaction was similar to Maroon scoring in overtime against Dallas in Game 7, because just the weight of the winning streak and winning this game. And if Calgary would have lost last night like they did, that would really, not guarantee the Blues make the playoffs, but it's going to be hard for Calgary to come back and overtake the Blues. So that was a big, huge win for the Blues, especially with Calgary losing after the Blues game was over.
Yeah, I had so many things going through my mind in that third period. All those years where Detroit beat us, right? And we cannot possibly let this happen. And for us to get the goal in the last minute to tie the game, it was like all that karma came flooding back.
Yeah. Like we did to Detroit what they used to do to us.
Yes.
Right.
It was like that should have been Pavel Datsyuk or Henrik Zetterberg that scored
on a breakaway. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
also, who was the fucking genius? And I'm sorry, maybe I'm reading way too much into this. Who was the fucking genius who said, "Oh, look, let's wear those shit 90s jerseys against the Red Wings this year"?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Right. It's like those are such horrible memories.
Right.
In those jerseys against the Wings.
I didn't realize it until the morning of. So I was like looking at social media, and they made a comment about it, being the Heritage Night or whatever. And I'm like, no, you're playing the Red Wings. What are you doing?
Who is driving the bus for decision making on when we wear these jerseys? You're driving it into a ditch. Stop it.
Yeah. I was very, very, and I'm not kidding. Like, I don't like those jerseys, whatever. They wear them twice a year now, whatever. I'm not even going to get upset about it. But against the fucking Red Wings, come on.
I know.
Can you be more tone deaf for us older fans?
Yeah, and it's even more like irritating when you read post game comments from people and how people, more people than you would think, love that jersey. Like now, I'm like, you weren't alive when that jersey was run out of town. Yep. You don't understand what it was like to see that jersey every day when the Blues played an away game.
And I love like Spittin' Chicklets had like something about Snuggerud making his Blues debut in a fire jersey.
Whatever.
And, like everybody's like, yeah, fire.
What
and I'm just like, oh my God.
Those are 22-year-old fans who weren't even alive when that jersey existed. They don't understand that jersey and the angst that the fan base had with that team, and the heartbreak that happened with the team wearing that jersey, and the fact that it was ugly as shit and only lasted a few years, and they ran it out of town.
So who was it that wore 21 when
Adam Creighton?
Was it? I thought he was 20.
I think Creighton was 20. 21 was
Brian Noonan.
Might have
been.
He
was 28.
Was he
I kept seeing wasn't Poshak 25? Rudy Poshak?
Yeah.
Poshak
yeah, I kept every time Kyrie, I'm like, that's Poshak. A complete polar opposite players.
3-0
yeah.
Seattle. Huh?
I'm like Craig Conroy 22. I'm like, yep, Suter, that's Craig Conroy.
21. That's a great call. Somebody had to wear that. That's a very common number.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, was someone wearing 21? Was it Teakin? No, he was 11.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he was 10 because.
You're right. Montgomery's number when he was at the Blues too was 10, I believe.
Yep.
So they had they had a couple in that era. David Roberts, Guy Carbonneau.
Oh,
that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Paul Broughton and Patrice Tardif.
Yeah, he was part of the Gretzky trade.
People forget about Carbonneau being a Blue.
Yep.
Was it half a season? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah. But no, I was not a fan, and I don't know. I was gonna say about 3 months ago, I did this thing for work where we do this like thing every now and then where it's like, what are your 5 favorite things? And so I did hockey jerseys. And so I did like a little quick slideshow of like, yeah, here's all my favorite hockey jerseys that I own. Somebody asked me what the ugliest jersey is in NHL history. Now, I don't think it's the ugliest in history. There's been some bad ones. But I do think I was like, okay, this one's close to my heart. I have to say this one because it was first coming to mind. And I pulled up a picture of the blue clown jersey.
Yeah.
Literally. And this is a group of graphic designers. That's what these people do for a living. Every one of them was like, oh my God, what is happening there?
Thank you. People with design sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so and then I remember somebody was like, well, what does it look like on the back? And I was like, oh,
no, it's worse.
Get ready for the back.
It's so much worse.
And one of the guys is like, the numbers. Oh my God, the numbers. And I started laughing. I'm like, yes, that is, yes.
It's so bad. And someone said it on TV the other day. I think it was, I was watching, I don't know, it was ESPN or some highlight show where they talked about the Blues, the win, and about how they did it in those jerseys and they were fire. And I'm like, no, they weren't. And no, they aren't. And they never were. So, and it's kind of sucks. The Snuggerud's first game is a Blue.
Yep.
Jen has that fucking jersey.
Yep.
So,
and Ken Morris does say,
not in that era though.
Jeff Brown wear 21. Yes, he did wear 21, but not in that era.
Right.
I think he left in 94.
He was part of that Vancouver trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't.
That wasn't 94, was it?
93. It was 93 that he got traded because he was part of the Vancouver, the 94 Cup run
against the Rangers. Yeah. So yeah, and that because I remember where I was when I heard about that trade. I was working at the Elks Lodge in Belleville, and I was pissed. Little do people know that they call that one of the worst trades in Blues history. because it screwed with chemistry. But they finished the season with 7 straight wins that year.
Yeah.
So, and then they proceeded to lose in the playoffs. So,
of course, that's what
Of course
they
we
did.
did.
Then. All right, let's talk about a little bit more about this game. So, again, Blues Red Wings. Let me get rid of that comment. The Blues have outscored their opposition 41-14 during this winning streak and have allowed 2 or fewer goals in 9 of the games and 1 or fewer in 7 of the games. So they are absolutely on a roll. We talked a couple weeks ago, I think it was with you, Bill, about how they're keeping the shot counts down so much better now since
only
Four
once
Nations face-off.
Only once since the Four Nations face-off have they allowed more than 30 shots.
Yeah, I think they allowed 32 shots. It was an overtime loss. I can't remember who that was against. LA, maybe. LA. Cam Fowler scored at 3:27 into OT. What about those sick mitts, huh?
What about the setup by the body check by Kyrou to create that?
Oh my God! Yeah, Kyrou taking out Jeff Bond. Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah, and that kind of started the whole thing, right? That got us possession, and then we just took off up the ice. I mean, great pass by Thomas. He gets the puck over to Fowler, and Fowler talked about this. He got Fowler the puck with enough time for Fowler to be able to settle it and come in and make a move. So it was good that he got in the puck early. You see a lot of 2-on-1 sometimes with players. They'll come in, they'll try to make that last second backdoor pass. He gave it to Fowler with plenty of time for Fowler to come in and make a move. And Fowler is just, I mean, you want to talk about great moves by Armstrong? Getting Fowler, I mean, it's just unreal.
Right.
How great would it have been to get him instead of Letty a couple of years ago, if that would have been on the table?
Whew. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice that they acquired him when they did, because then a little while, and then with Parayko going down, it was just really nice to have that depth. And we have Fowler, and Suter can play some minutes, and we got and Tucker was a guy that was playing well, so they brought him up to fill in. So it was just nice to have that extra depth because we acquired Fowler early in the season. If we hadn't acquired Fowler and then Parayko goes down, that's a different story with this team now on defense.
Right. If you're forcing a Kessel and Tucker third pair,
we'd still have Prunovich.
Yeah, true.
So
yeah. No, I mean, just I one of the shows I look forward to this offseason is Doug Armstrong, GM of the Year. Right. We do a whole show about all the moves he's made.
I don't know how he doesn't win it.
Team. Right.
With all the hoopla
for Holloway and Broberg.
Yeah, the hoopla in the preseason with the offer sheets, and then how those players have panned out. They're part of the engines driving this team. Especially Holloway right now, just on fire. And it's just like, and he's part of that 10-game win streak, getting a lot of press with the win streak now, and Holloway. Especially being a huge part of that. I don't know how you don't. And Fowler's worked out great. Suter signing the preseason was good too.
Oh my God, I hated that signing.
Suter?
I guess we have. I think my comment on the preseason show was, I guess we have to have all the old defensemen.
I'll have to pull up that show because I know you had some pretty harsh comments.
Well, we talked about
he's turned out great.
We talked about how. I thought acquiring a Suter was fine, but I didn't want him playing every day. I thought he'd be a guy you plug in, play, 3 out of 4 games, rest him and play somebody else, whatever. Plug him in for matchups. But if he's playing every day, I thought if he's playing every day, I said, I think I quoted this on, we're in trouble.
Yep.
And
we all said that.
But, I guess if getting Fowler, was to limit Suter's minutes, so he didn't wear him out. And it's a lot of things have fallen their way this season lately. So things have just fallen into place. And Harry Montgomery is another feather in Armstrong's cap this season. So how would you not give him GM? It should be a runaway win. I don't care. Too many good moves that have worked out.
It won't be. Because for some reason, GM of the Year and Coach of the Year
President's Trophy winning coach.
They can never go to the same guy unless they're with a different team. And Armstrong's already won GM of the Year. So
But
that would be the only thing against him.
Here's the deal, and I get that that's typically the case, but he did something the last off season that was kind of unprecedented, and it was big news, right, with the offer sheets, and that has played such a huge role in this team right now that it'd be a hard thing to pass him up for GM of the year because of that. It was because it was something different. It wasn't just the team's playing well because he made a couple moves, signed some guys in the offseason and they played well. No, he went in and he punched Bowman in the face, took his lunch money, and then just walked out,
Yeah.
And the whole NHL applauded him for that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I think Edmonton fans hated it, but every other fan base was like, "Man, wish my GM had the balls to do that."
Yep.
Right. And hey, there's a great comment from Matt Harris. Just him, GM of Team Canada, right?
That's
GM
another
of the
thing.
year right there.
Yeah, I mean he's got that accomplishment this year too. So it's. Yeah, I mean, we're biased, I guess, a little bit, but it's a good argument.
And I'm not saying I agree with that whole thing. I think that's bullshit. I think so Montgomery won for his first year in Boston. I thought he should have won the second year in Boston too. Like, your number one center was Pavel Zacha, and they fucking went to the playoffs as a number 2 seed. So I was like, man, you got to make that guy. You got to give him Coach of the Year twice. He didn't even get any votes, I don't think. He maybe got 1 vote. And I'm like, come on, this dude is killing it.
Yeah,
and
that's
the same with GMs. Like, we never see guys win twice. And I think that is
isn't
so
that stupid? It's stupid. And it's the exact opposite with like the Norris Trophy. Once you win it, it's almost like it's hard to unseat that player unless somebody else has an amazing year.
Right. Cale Makar isn't going to lose unless he's injured for 90% of his season.
Once you win it once, then you're almost like, okay, you get a head start the next year until someone head and shoulders beats you the next year.
Nicholas Lidstrom won with a minus rating. That's what I always go through with that.
I mean,
ridiculous.
Don't get me wrong. Nicholas Lidstrom, one of the all-time greats, but there were a couple of years in there. I think Pronger should have won it 1 year for sure over Lidstrom. Pronger was robbed. Pronger was robbed against Lidstrom 1 year and against Blake 1 year. Blake won it when Pronger should have won. Pronger should have 3 Norris trophies, at least.
McKinnis should have 2.
Yeah.
The year Jackman won Calder, McKinnis should have won because, listen, Barrett Jackman had a great rookie year. Don't get me wrong. Al McKinnis was the reason that Barrett Jackman was so comfortable out there.
Yeah.
And won Henrik Zetterberg's Calder Trophy.
Yep.
Yeah, which, it being the rival Red Wings at the time, I have no problem with that. I'm like,
that's why I have to put it that way.
Yeah, right. So
speaking of Blues versus Red Wings, we're still going here. Thomas extended his point streak to 6 games with 2 goals and 11 assists in that span. We mentioned Jimmy Snuggerud getting his NHL debut. He played mostly on the wing, as we said, with Sundqvist and Bolduc. 10:43 of time on ice, 2 shots on goal. He even got some power play time, minute 49 on the power play. The Blues have 3 power plays in this game. I did love how his best shot on goal came while it was right after that they interviewed his dad on the TV, Dave Snuggerud, who played in the NHL. And yeah, it was like one of those things that he came in on the wing and, I know he was looking across for a pass, but he looked up and he saw, like, I got a shot at the net. I just need to take it. And I know they asked Jim Montgomery before the game, have you told Snuggerud you need him to shoot? And he just said something along the lines of, like, he's a shooter. He knows. And so this team's relying on Snuggerud to take shots like they are with Bolduc. And seeing him make that quick decision to be like, I need to put this on net. And it was a good shot on Talbot. It just made me say, oof, God, if this kid continues to not overthink it like Kyrou does a lot, let's face it, I think this kid's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah,
100%. Does it bother you? It bothers me that they'll interview parents of a player, Dvorsky or Snuggerud or whoever, parents or family, Bolduc, and during play. And why can't you record that interview in between period, like before the game or in between first, second period, and then air it in between second and third period? Intermission. Don't, because sometimes the interview might last a couple minutes, and then something big happens in the game or a goal scored and then it's not called. It's like, I'd rather that interview happen in between periods.
Give us something to watch at intermission, because since they did away with the featurettes during intermission, I'm sorry, intermissions to me are unwatchable.
The formulaic,
and that's not just Blues, that's league wide.
It's all too formulaic. But to not be formulaic, Jeff Ponder or Kurt Price, I know you don't play, but instant puck doku. Dave Snuggerud, 2 teams.
Oh God. Oh God. Hang on. One's Buffalo, right?
Yes, you have one.
Oh my God. Come on, Kurt, help me out. I got one of them.
I don't. Rangers?
Is there a is the other one a California team?
It is.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna. I can't picture him in teal.
What year? What year?
But I'm gonna say Kings.
What year?
Should have said Sharks.
It was the Sharks. Damn it.
And I want to say also probably the one other team, Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay.
So Sabres from 89-90 through 91-92, San Jose in their expansion year and the following year, and then 14 games with the Flyers the following year.
There you go.
2:32, 2:30 left in the Colorado-Chicago game, and Chicago leads 2-1. They're on the power play, 45 seconds left.
I will turn that game back on.
Let's see if they can hold on.
Ken Morris says, I hate those interviews during the game, especially how they downsize the screen.
Yeah, that too.
For me, it's like, why not just keep the game full screen? And then if you're going to do it, at least just like put them in the corner on the right. Like you don't need to have that take up half the fucking screen.
And they do that. They shrink down the game screen, and they have the other screen like kind of overlapping, smaller. And there's wasted real estate, kind of like our setup here. There's background stuff going on, and like just use the entire screen for the
and Binnington, like to your point, Binnington made an excellent save during that interview last night, and it was like, and it's like you're hearing Snuggerud talk or Dave Snuggerud talk, and you're just kind of like, let's talk about that fucking save. That was insane.
And maybe Dave wants to watch the game. Maybe his son's going to step on the ice and wants to watch him. He's got to fucking talk to, who was it, Strickland and everybody?
Yeah.
He's got to fucking talk to Andy. It's just like this. No, let him watch the game. His son's playing. My God.
Yeah, I hate that. And the formulaic shit in intermission is so tiring. I mean, I feel like Canada does it a little better. They go back to the studio. They'll break out, and talk about different games going on. It's a little different, but man, the FanDuel stuff, especially, it is just the same shit every single intermission. And I'm not saying you need to have a featurette for 82 games a season, but break it up. Do different things here and there. Do we really? I mean, who is literally sitting there like, all right, rush to the bathroom and come back so I can make sure I hear what Alexa Dat and Bernie Federko thought about the first period. No offense to them. They do a great job, but that's not what fans want. We don't care. We just watched it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tyler almost tied it.
Yeah.
Less than a minute to go.
Oof.
And Colorado has pulled their goalie.
So, I thought both goalies in this game, the Red Wings and Blues, they didn't allow a shot a goal until the 36th shot of the night when Comfer beat Binnington.
He didn't beat Binnington. It was an empty net.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
He beat Jake Neighbors.
That's true. Montgomery actually opted to pull Binnington early in this game, way earlier than we're used to. 3.5 minutes left. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was early.
I was not a fan. That was a Berube move.
Well,
not like that.
Did you hear what he said about
anxiety was on edge, and that made it 10 times worse.
Did you heard him say why?
He said something along the lines of he thought their 5-on-5 play was awful.
Yeah, they weren't generating anything, so he wanted to jumpstart it and force the issue. Well, I'm like, okay, I get it, but man, that's a long time. It worked.
It did.
But it's a ballsy play, and I get it. You haven't scored yet. Might as well try something. But Colorado's almost scored like 3 goals here.
I know, man. It's crazy.
That save by Spencer Knight that he made.
Nikas, backdoor did. Oh my God!
I'm telling you, I think as long as he stays healthy, Spencer Knight is the real deal. I think that was a very smart move.
Yeah.
To get him. I know some people said Spencer Knight is not the real deal. I think that was a very, very good pickup by Chicago.
18 seconds to go.
Dylan Holloway had an assist on the game-tying goal to give him 16 points, including 10 assists in his past 11 games. So he did have his point streak snapped against Colorado, but obviously 16 points in 11 games. That's not too shabby.
No.
Yeah. And I think
we'll take it.
I think the Brandon Montour de Force featured a certain Dylan Holloway. So that didn't help me at all.
So next up for the Blues, we've got tomorrow night. They're playing we mentioned it already, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hopefully they'll be ready for some payback.
God.
And I'm guessing
you're ahead of
Colorado
me.
Scored. Yeah, me too.
Shit. Are you kidding me? Let me see.
9.8.
Of course.
9.8.
Right, I'm 10 seconds away from that. So let's see what happens.
5 seconds away right now. Oh my God.
The shot Nietzsche's with the deflection.
They just pulled the Blues.
Oh God.
Double doink?
Yeah.
Double
from
doink?
wrist shot from the point, it probably deflected a couple times, right?
Yeah, Nelson and then Nietzsche's.
Yep.
Jeez. Fuck,
well,
donkey.
Next up for the Blues, we mentioned Pittsburgh tomorrow night. Saturday, they play Colorado again at home at 6:00. Monday, they play the Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg at 6:30. And then Wednesday, April 9th, they play the Edmonton Oilers at 9:00. So as far as our next show goes, I don't know, maybe a pregame show against Edmonton with it being a 9:00 start. Might be a Tuesday show. I don't know. We'll see. Just stay tuned to us on social media.
All right.
Do we want to keep this show going and watch the overtime together? What do we want to do here?
No.
Let's wrap it up.
Bill would have to pause it for like 20 seconds.
Yeah, I'm tired of getting spoilers with this game. All right. Yeah. So it was a very interesting week in St. Louis for sports. I think that's going to continue with the NCAA coming here. So again, I know, Bill, you're going to the games. I'll be covering them. So if you're at any of those Frozen Four games, please let us know. We'd love to meet up with you. But yeah, looking forward to it. That'll be some more fun hockey to watch at Enterprise Center. Thanks to our amazing sponsors, StrikeWithMike.com and RockinThatIDLife.com. That'll wrap up episode 27 of season 14 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We'll talk with you next week. And again, make sure you listen to the Let's Go Blues Minute. I'm going to about 4 a week at this point with the Blues season coming to a close. For Bill Day and Kurt Price, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
I'm trying to figure out. I was asked for my expertise in the chat, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to apply on here. I'm going to go Spencer Knight.
Oh, yeah, he has Knight or I guess Wood. Who's Wood?
Either Blackwood or Wedgwood. They have them both.
It's got to say Blackwood. I would think Blackwood because he's their starter.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Jake Beaver. Yes. You're screwing up the mojo here. All right, Take two. This was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Get number 11 against Pittsburgh. Let's go Blues.
Yeah.
a Mark Goodson television production.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
I found prints! No, fingerprints. I don't think so.